Welcome. Good evening, Dr. Charlene Sinclair, my very dear friend. And if there is anyone that I have been looking forward to talking to after these last several hours, these last 24, 48 hours, I'm actually losing track of time now. It's just been that intense, just centered around this historical and significant backdrop of Kamala Harris's presidential run. And it just seems like rapid fall, just given her loss for her bid for presidency. Yeah. How are you doing?
I am, what's the word for how I'm doing? Um, I don't know how I'm doing. I am in emotional swings
Yeah.
around it, right? It's from resigned to angry to fatalistic. Oh, of course. To resolute. Okay, we're about to dig in and get some stuff done. So the emotional roller coaster has me a bit exhausted. How about you? How the heck are you?
I am exhausted. I'm really exhausted. I have lost like track of time. It feels like a longer time period than it actually is. I do know that I have been holding space for a lot of people that have been going through it, and also reminding myself that I need to hold the space so I can actually feel what needs to be felt. I penned an opinion piece on this reality of not having the permission in, some aspects to, just fully feel and be, disappointed and angry and even heartbroken by what I think I knew what the outcome was going, to be. Um, and just hoping because I have to hope and want for something to be very, very, different. And talking to many Black women that I support as part of my practice and part of my work on a regular basis, and then just people that I interact with, every day through my comings and goings, dropping the kids off at school, talking to, the women in all of the places that know the work that I do, in the establishments that I just need to engage with as part of my daily life and, and well-being on the expectation that they needed to show up on Wednesday as if nothing happened, as if everything is okay after they have, witnessed this huge loss. And then all of the commentary about the loss. And the expectation is that they cannot take it personal.
Mhm. You know, I mean, I'm thinking about what you just said, and I'm going all the way back to the conversation about is Biden equipped to
Mhm.
run and win? And you know, they were talking about everybody under the sun. Nobody was talking about Kamala. You know, there were names floating, and I remember just being so pissed and saying, wait, are they jumping over the vice president of the United States to float all of these different names, wanting an open convention. And I'm kind of used to that, and I'm used to being pissed about that,
Right.
right? And so that was a norm. I know how to manage that norm.
Right.
I just kind of flow with that. I know how to manage it.
Yeah.
And because in my mind, I'm thinking there's no way in hell that a black woman will be the president of the United States. I just didn't think the country was prepared for that. I didn't think most non-black people would be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And
And
what I'm more pissed about,
quite
huh?
and quite frankly, some Black people.
And some black people, some
Right.
black. But the thing about it is that it's always going to be some black people.
Right.
Like, we shouldn't have any expectation
That.
that we are going to be 100%
Right.
on the right side of, humanity. I mean, we're people, right? Just like everybody else.
Of course.
And when you think about the overwhelming number of black people, men and women,
Yes.
like outstripping everybody else,
Hmm.
then I think what really bothers me is that I was prepared to not hope. And this campaign
Oh,
made me think of the possible.
they did so
And
quickly. It
yes.
infused hope. I remember um I was in Chicago. I was home in Chicago this summer, and just the excitement. I was just the excitement. It was just like a boost of adrenaline that
Mhm.
was infused back into this democratic process. I mean, it was so stale, and just the foolish conversations that you were engaged with people, but the rumblings, had already begun about, Biden being too old. And, you know, I begin to question, did people really understand like how the system actually worked? Like if he was too old and something happened, then
Right.
they had a successor. Like our system is
Yeah.
set up to where if something happened, there was someone to step in place. Now, are you
Right.
saying that you did not want that person who has been identified as the successor to actually
Mhm.
succeed him? And
Yeah.
so I don't know. But here's one thing that is like the elephant in the room, and I want your take on it. This need for solidarity and support. I mean, when we experience this reality, like in our faces, that 50% of white women voted for Trump in 2016, and we have bigger numbers this time according to the, early exit polling numbers. Hmm. Can we discuss the importance of solidarity among Black women and what actionable steps we can take to uplift and support one another, like during these times? Can we just avoid, this? We need to, engage with, white women and have solidarity across the women. And I mean, for years, we've been talking about Black people have done more, to secure their own liberation and their own freedom than ever thought, you know, back in the emancipation periods. Isn't that and couldn't that be true now?
I think, I've been thinking about this, and I do believe that I believe solidarity is important.
Mhm.
And I believe that um do we really mean solidarity?
Mm.
Is, and one of the things, carrying our work together that we differentiate between is allyship and solidarity.
Oh, absolutely.
And people use them interchangeably. There is a difference between, oh, I'll walk beside you and bring my assumed notion of my own power into the conversation to help you, nice little black girl.
Uh,
Like that's how I see allyship. And
mm-hmm.
solidarity means that we truly believe our lives are in this interwoven net
Right.
together. Like we truly believe
Mhm.
that if you are not safe, I'm not safe.
That's right.
If I'm not safe, you're not safe.
Right.
And I think that these words have become tropes that are stated without us challenging each other around what they really mean. And so it's an easy out, like I'm in solidarity with, are you really?
Yeah.
Are you? Tell me how you doing that. And so I do think that it's too easy. These words have become too easy, and
Yeah.
people are not expected to live into them with truth and power.
Daily.
And
Daily.
it's how about every minute?
Yeah.
Like any minute will be an opportunity for slippage
Yes.
or an opportunity for you to stand strong and firm in it. It is like a constant vigilance that is necessary because the whole world tells you not to be in solidarity. So to be in solidarity is such a counter-revolutionary act that requires a level of vigilance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that. Now, that said,
That's
that
it.
said, uh, that I don't think solidarity comes without hard conversations.
Yes.
I don't think it comes with it, to me, solidarity is that interesting redemption space.
Mm.
It just doesn't happen without a level of honesty about who we are
Mm-hmm.
and what we've allowed ourselves to be and to do, and what are our commitments to do something different.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen because I say it,
Right.
so
And
that's the
how we
question.
benefited from not being in solidarity with one another or having this imbalance in power, right?
Hmm.
So I had always, held it as if you see our engagement as only helping me, but not helping yourself.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
that's power. That's
that,
you thinking you have power over me.
what's the value in that and
Hmm.
to whom, right?
Hmm.
But if you are coming to move in and we are on this and doing this together because it is helping you. And that goes back to this analysis. When you solve for the most impacted, then you solve for everyone. Even if that
Yeah.
means that you don't get your most immediate need addressed first,
Hmm. But
then
that, I mean, I hear I don't think people really understand when you say that.
yes,
I really don't, right? Because there is this assumption, this scarcity mentality that always says, if Black people get something, then I don't get something.
right,
And the history has never proven that to be true.
absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
no evidence of that.
There is no
None.
evidence of
None.
if you get a little bit, then I get nothing. And we're also just talking about humanity, right? If you treated Black women with the same amount of humanity, that you treat other people, what does that cost you?
Hmm. That's the big question.
Nothing.
Yeah, maybe the question is not even what does it cost you? Maybe there is um, a deep self-interrogation around what do you fear?
Right. But they ran a strategy around playing into anger, fear, and resentment, and no amount of preparation for education, experience, hustle
Hmm.
mattered for this race. No conditioning mattered for this race. And I bring that up to say, then what are the strategies? What are the strategies, in your opinion, for overcoming these barriers and building strategies? And you and I, we talk often about this term resilience. Let's not, use resilience, because resilience has been used in a way that you just beat us down so much because we just hadn't perished. We're still here. But what are the strategies? What are the strategies that we can deploy as a collective? Let's just move beyond this individuals, because individuals
Hmm.
don't get us there. Like individual action doesn't get us there. What are the strategies, in your opinion, based on your experience,
Yeah.
can we harness?
I think that Vice President Harris used the best strategy.
I know it is late. I am so grateful and full that I am yet having a conversation with you that my spirit and my heart needed. Um,
Yeah, I feel the same way. I didn't even know how much I was holding in.
I,
So,
I,
yeah.
I didn't either. But I want to continue the conversation. What would you say, the last thing here, what would you say for or to young women and girls? What would you encourage them to do?
Mm,
Closing.
that is a good one. As a mom and a grandma with young girls, young women in my household, um, similar to Kamala's last statements, during her encouragement. I'm not calling it a concession. I don't think that during her encouragement to the young people to keep them lifted is that, and she's pretty much said it throughout the campaign and through her actions. Don't allow anyone to define you. Don't give up on your dreams. Um, and a recognition that while it may not come um, expeditiously, it doesn't mean that it won't come,
Mhm.
right? And so um, I think, again, it goes back to what I'd said at the beginning in terms of what we identify it as the wins or the losses. And the reality is that we're winning.
Mhm.
This massive 107 days or so campaign that amassed this kind of resources in terms of human engagement, financial resources, structure, um, all of that is an incredible win. And doing that and putting on one of the largest stages in the world, the dignity and power and brilliance of Black women and being able to, I mean, just the, the, I'm looking for the word that doesn't sound like too hood. I'm trying to find a word that don't sound too hood, but I'm just thinking about just, I'm going to stand in front of the Frederick Douglass Memorial building at Howard University.
Right.
And I will either stand there and take my acceptance speech. And when that was not the case, I'm gonna stand there anyway and let y'all know. Right? It's like, because she could have just said, okay, no, I'm leaving. I'm going to do something somewhere else. Like to stand to, first of all, just to and the way in which he said, "Oh, you know what? You created havoc at the ellipse. I'm going to stand in that spot and project something different." Just the power of that. And so that's what I would say to Black girls, Black women, young women, is that you have within you tremendous brilliance, power, and dignity. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone take you out of your essence.
Mhm.
Don't let anyone actually push you to a place where you don't stand in that and know that you are right in it.
Yeah.
Do not do that. Stand, what do they say? 10 toes down, firmly planted. 10
Yeah.
toes down, firmly planted in your brilliance and dignity and power. And then what is for you will be for you.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the timeline that you would have it, but what is for you will be for you.
I love it. What I've been saying is the importance of entrepreneurship, right? Black women in the last several years has been the class that has grown the most in entrepreneurship. We can create our own stuff, not just for us, but for other people to buy it and to invest in it as well. Civic engagement and political science is very important. I mean, we now have two US senators who are Black women that will be serving at the same time,
At the same
the
time,
first time in history, from Delaware and Maryland. And so we know that as avenues for economic and social progress. We've seen it, right? And so while VP Harris did lose this bid, she is still what? VP Harris, the first Black women vice president. And
hmm
be another one for a long time. But she was the first and hopefully not the last. And so
hmm
we do have roles in being mentors and
and she's only 60.
she's only
60 is the new 45.
60 is the
I've
new
decided.
35. 60 is the
That's
new
it.
35. 60 is the new 35, girl.
Come again, Kamala. We got you. We ready. Come again.
I mean, if they can run into their 80s, why not? Because
Why not?
black
Why
don't,
not?
right?
There you go.
So,
There you go.
our roles as mentors and sponsors, and I mean, we have great work to do in continuing to pour into and invest in our young girls and women and nurturing their vision for themselves. I mean, my oldest is, just started her entrepreneur endeavors. I know your daughter is, entrepreneur endeavors in arts and all of the things, and your granddaughter. And so how do we continue to, build those interests and social justice issues won't go away. And, so encouraging them to not run away from this very important work because of this very public heartbreak and
Mhm.
disappointment, because it is part of the arc. It is part of the arc, right? And so, like, Kamala Harris has always shared that her mother said, while you may be the first, don't be the last. So all of the doors that have been kicked open, and while people may not have seen, a Black woman, in this role before as possible, you can't erase,
Mhm.
where you can't erase this, you can't erase where it's been. And so if you couldn't imagine it before, people should be able to imagine it in the
Yep.
future. Young girls, can as well. And we know, I mean, just think, what if we had 200 days, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, um, where can people find you?
People could find me at InSync Consulting on LinkedIn at Charlene K. Sinclair or InSync Consulting.
Okay. And you can find me at carriemitchellbrown.com or Dr. Carrie M. Brown at all social media handles. Dr. Charlene Sinclair, I love you and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.